Welcome to Kunzy Podcast English, where your English learning journey begins right at home. You don't need to go anywhere. No complicated textbooks. All you need is a heart that wants to change and a spirit that refuses to give up, because right where you're sitting can become the greatest language classroom. Today, we're diving into the topic, Learn English Step by Step at Home. A journey of learning English, one step at a time, from the comfort of your own space. It's not about rushing or being perfect, but if you truly begin, you'll get there. Have you ever thought, I want to be good at English but don't know where to start? Or I'm too busy. I don't have time. I'm not good enough. If that's you, then this is exactly why you need to listen to today's episode. Because here, you won't just find a plan. You'll rediscover your belief in your ability to grow. Grab a cup of tea, a notebook, and let Kunzy walk with you, step by step, word by word, on this inspiring journey to master English. Do you know what the biggest barrier is that keeps many people learning English without making progress? It's not because they aren't smart enough, nor because they don't have enough time or resources to study. The real reason lies in their mindset. They don't dare to speak English. Many wait until they can speak perfectly, with flawless pronunciation and grammar, before daring to speak. They fear making mistakes, being laughed at, or judged negatively. Because of this, many people spend a long time just studying without practicing, only reading without speaking, and as a result, English remains a distant dream. But the truth is, waiting for perfection before starting to speak English is your biggest obstacle. English is not a subject to memorize and pass tests. English is a language to be used daily, to communicate, to connect with the world. You have to start speaking from the simplest things. Even if you don't know enough vocabulary or grammar, even if your sentences aren't perfect, even if they might be wrong, speak out what you are thinking. Make English a habit in your daily life, not just a stressful lesson. For example, when you feel tired, don't wait until you can say, I am tired, perfectly before speaking. Start saying it right now. When you want coffee, say it. When you see it raining, use English to describe the weather. Simple sentences like, I am tired, I want to drink coffee, it is raining today, are the best first steps to practice speaking English. When you begin to speak your thoughts in English every day, you will gradually break down psychological barriers, lack of confidence, and fear. English will become more natural and familiar, no longer something scary or strange. You will realize that speaking English is not a difficult task, but a way to express yourself, to connect with those around you and the vast world outside. Starting from simple sentences, you will feel more confident each day. And when you speak English regularly, little by little, you will create an indispensable habit in life. Imagine spending a few minutes every day to say the simplest sentences in English. You will be surprised by the progress you make after a short time. No one is born speaking English fluently. We all start with simple sentences, making mistakes, and gradually improve. The best English learners are not those who study the most, but those who dare to speak the most. Dare to make mistakes, and learn from them. Therefore, don't let fear stop you. Don't wait until you are perfect before speaking. Start now, today, right at this moment. Speak out what you think, even if it's brief, simple, or grammatically incorrect. From these small steps, you will build a strong foundation for successful English learning. Believe in yourself and dare to act. Speaking out your thoughts not only helps you practice speaking skills, but also helps you remember vocabulary, sentence structures, and improve communication reflexes much faster than passive studying from books. If you truly want to learn English effectively at home, start with your thoughts and words. Treat English as a language to express yourself, to connect and experience, not just a subject to pass exams. Step by step, persist day by day, and you will see clear progress. Learning English is not a race, but a journey of discovery and connection. And that journey begins with the thoughts you dare to speak out today. Remember, no one is perfect when they start, but anyone can become better every day if they dare to say what they think. That is the secret to successfully learning English at home, step by step, with patience and passion. You will see English is no longer a challenge, but becomes a wonderful companion in life. When starting to learn English, many people make the mistake of trying to come up with their own ways of speaking and expressions right from the beginning. They want to create new sentences, try to remember complicated grammar rules, or find diverse vocabulary. But the truth is, before you can be creative in speaking English, you need to learn how to imitate how native speakers talk. Imitate common sentence patterns, intonations, word usage, and the way emotions are conveyed in real-life communication situations. Imitating doesn't mean mechanically copying or memorizing in a boring way. Imitation is learning to immerse yourself in the language, getting used to the rhythm, nuances, and word usage of native speakers in the most natural way. When you imitate, you are building a solid foundation to develop your English-speaking skills, just like young children learning their mother tongue. They don't think about each sentence. They listen repeatedly and imitate every sound and phrase from adults around them, then gradually create their own sentences. If you start by trying to make complex sentences and remember grammar rules too early, you will easily feel overwhelmed, lose motivation, and get discouraged. Instead, learning through imitation helps you start speaking right away, even if it's just simple but practical and correct sentences. One of the most effective ways to practice imitation is by learning from movies, podcasts, and YouTube videos. These sources give you natural sentences with correct intonation and help you get familiar with how native speakers really communicate in different situations. When you focus on listening and imitating these sentence patterns regularly, you will gradually feel how the words are used, sentence structures, and the emotions attached to each phrase. This will help you speak English more naturally, more fluently, and with less thinking about grammar while speaking. Imitation is the fastest way for you to get closer to speaking English like a native because you learn ready-made expressions without wasting time creating new sentences. It also helps you build vocabulary in specific contexts, which are much easier to remember compared to learning isolated vocabulary from books. You should make a habit of listening and repeating phrases from quality English learning sources daily, while also taking notes of useful sentence patterns and practicing speaking a lot through imitation. You will see your speaking skills improve significantly and your confidence in communication increase remarkably. The most important thing is not to be afraid of making mistakes. Consider imitation as a necessary first step in your own language creativity journey. Once you have a solid foundation from imitation, you can freely develop your own ways of speaking and communication style in the most natural and effective way. Remember, imitation is not a phase that lasts forever. but an initial step to help you get used to the language and overcome psychological barriers. Then, gradually, you will create your own sentences and expressions so that English becomes a wonderful tool to help you confidently communicate and connect with the world. You will definitely make mistakes, and that is completely normal. When learning a new language, especially English, the fear of making mistakes is one of the biggest barriers stopping many people from speaking up. They worry that their pronunciation won't be perfect, their grammar will be wrong, or their sentences will make others laugh. But what you need to understand is that making mistakes when speaking English is not only normal, but an essential and unavoidable part of your learning and progress. You don't need to speak English perfectly. You just need the courage to start. There is no need to wait until you speak with 100% accuracy, perfect grammar, or native-like pronunciation before daring to speak. The most important step is to dare to say your first sentence, even if it's not perfect. Every time you speak, even with mistakes, you are practicing, you are improving, and you are opening opportunities to get better every day. Every mistake is a step forward. Don't be discouraged or ashamed when you find you have spoken incorrectly. See mistakes as signals that show you where to improve. When you mispronounce a word, you know you need to practice that sound again. When you use grammar wrongly, you can learn how to correct it next time. If you are afraid to speak for fear of mistakes, you will never know where you're wrong and will miss the chance to fix those errors and advance. The most fluent English speakers in the world also made many mistakes when they started. They did not hide in the shadows, waiting to be perfect before speaking, but learned from those mistakes to improve gradually. You can do the same as long as you are persistent and have a positive attitude toward your mistakes. Fear of making mistakes is the greatest enemy of progress. Many people don't dare to speak English because they fear being laughed at, criticized, or judged. But if you let that fear control you, you will remain stuck, unable to move forward. Fear not only stops you from speaking, but also lowers your confidence, making English feel like an impossible and distant challenge. Instead of fearing mistakes, treat them as your companions that help you grow. When you accept making mistakes, you free yourself from the pressure of perfection, and then you dare to try, dare to speak, and dare to communicate. Every time you step out of your comfort zone and speak English, you overcome the biggest barrier in learning a foreign language. To overcome the fear of mistakes and start speaking English more confidently, the first thing you need to realize is that everyone makes mistakes when learning English, and that is completely normal. Even native speakers sometimes mispronounce or say something wrong in certain situations. Focusing too much on perfect grammar can hold you back. Your goal is not to pass a grammar test, but to communicate effectively, express your ideas, and understand others. Focus on the real purpose of learning English, to connect with people, to open up your world, not to race toward perfection. Remind yourself that every mistake is a chance to learn. When you realize you are wrong, you remember the lesson better and are less likely to repeat the same mistake. Developing a daily habit of speaking English, even with simple sentences, is very important. You can practice speaking by yourself, record your voice, join English-speaking clubs, or find speaking partners. The more you speak, the more comfortable you get, and your confidence will grow rapidly. You should also avoid comparing yourself to others. Everyone learns at their own pace, so don't lose motivation or feel discouraged if others speak better. Focus on your own learning journey and appreciate even the smallest progress you make. Creating a positive and safe English learning environment is very important. When you learn with supportive people who don't judge you, it becomes easier to open your mouth, try, and not be afraid of mistakes. A good learning community helps you stay motivated and keep improving your English every day. Remember that English is not a boring subject, but a tool to connect with the world, open career opportunities, cultural experiences, and new adventures. You can start speaking English today with simple sentences you want to share. Even if your sentences are not perfect or your pronunciation is not accurate, just say it. Those simple sentences are the first steps to build a natural and flexible English communication habit. Don't wait until you are perfect to speak, because perfection will never come if you don't start. Speak, then correct mistakes, and you will get better day by day. Every time you dare to speak English, you build your confidence. Confidence is the key to expanding your communication abilities, welcoming more opportunities, and overcoming limits in life. Finally, learning English is a long journey, not a quick race. Every small step, every mistake is part of that journey. Be patient, persistent, and always brave to speak out. You will see yourself improve much more than you think. One of the biggest misconceptions about learning English is that you need to attend formal classes, find special time, or create complicated study plans in order to practice speaking. The truth is, what you really need is small, simple moments scattered throughout your day where you can practice speaking English naturally and effortlessly. You don't need a classroom to speak English. You just need to turn your daily activities and routines into opportunities to speak. Imagine this. Every action you do during the day can become a chance to say something in English. This means you can practice anywhere and anytime, while brushing your teeth, cooking, walking, cleaning, waiting in line, or even during your commute. By turning these everyday moments into speaking opportunities, you train your brain to think in English naturally and make speaking English part of your daily life, not something separate or intimidating. For example, when you're brushing your teeth in the morning, try saying out loud, "I'm brushing my teeth." This simple sentence helps you practice the present continuous tense and get used to forming sentences about your daily actions. When you're cooking lunch or dinner, narrate your actions with sentences like, "I'm making lunch," or "I'm chopping vegetables." These short sentences may seem trivial, but the more you say them, the more comfortable you become with English words and sentence structures. Even small actions matter. When you open the fridge, you can say, "I'm looking for something to eat." If you are drinking water, try saying, "I'm drinking water." When you sit down to relax, say, "I'm resting now." The key is to use the English language as much as possible during your daily routine. By doing this, you are practicing speaking without pressure, just like how children learn their first language through constant exposure and repeated usage in everyday situations. This method of speaking out loud about your daily activities helps your brain associate English words with real-life objects and actions, improving your vocabulary and sentence construction naturally. You will find that after a while, you start thinking in English without having to translate from your native language first. This is a huge step toward fluency because it reduces the time it takes to form sentences and speak spontaneously. Practicing every day, even just for a few minutes, creates consistency, which is the secret to success in language learning. Language skills are like muscles. They need regular exercise to grow stronger. If you only practice occasionally, progress will be slow. But if you make speaking English a habit embedded in your daily life, you'll see remarkable improvement over time. Some people worry that speaking English alone might feel strange or silly. It's true that at first, talking to yourself in another language might feel awkward. But remember, this is your personal practice time, so there's no one to judge you. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, you won't need to think about speaking English. It will just come naturally. In addition to narrating your own actions, you can also use this daily moment practice to describe things around you. For example, if you see a bird flying outside your window, say, "Look." A bird is flying. When it starts raining, say, "It's raining now." If you hear music playing, say, "There is music playing." Describing your surroundings helps you practice vocabulary related to nature, weather, emotions, and everyday objects, expanding your range of expressions. Another great way to use daily moments for speaking practice is by planning your day out loud in English. Before you start your tasks, you can say, "Now I will go to the market," or "I'm going to call my friend." This not only helps you practice future tense, but also strengthens your ability to express plans, intentions, and decisions in English. When you wait in line, whether at the supermarket or bank, you can silently or quietly describe what you see or what's happening. For example, "There are 5 people ahead of me," or "The cashier is scanning items." Even mentally saying these sentences helps improve your English skills. It's important to remember that perfection is not the goal here. Don't worry if you don't know the exact word or if your sentence is not grammatically perfect. The key is to speak and practice regularly. If you forget a word, you can try to explain it in another way or look it up later and practice again next time. Over time, you will naturally improve your vocabulary and grammar just by speaking frequently. Using your daily routine to practice English also helps reduce the fear of speaking in front of others. When you are used to hearing your own voice speaking English, you become more confident. This confidence will carry over when you speak with other people. The more you practice, the less shy or nervous you will feel in real conversations. To make this method more effective, you can combine it with other techniques. For example, record yourself speaking about your daily activities and listen back to identify areas for improvement. You can also try repeating after English videos or podcasts, mimicking their tone and rhythm while describing your own actions. Joining online English-speaking communities where people share their daily practice experiences can motivate you as well. The beauty of turning daily moments into speaking opportunities is that it fits into any lifestyle. Whether you are busy with work, study, or family, you can find small pockets of time to practice English speaking without needing extra hours or special equipment. This flexibility makes it easier to maintain a consistent practice habit over the long term. In conclusion, every small moment of your day is a valuable chance to practice English speaking. Don't wait for the perfect time or special environment. Use what you have right now. Start by narrating your actions, describing your surroundings, planning your day, and speaking out loud about whatever you see or think. Practice every day, even if just for a few minutes, and you will build a natural, confident speaking habit that grows stronger over time. Remember, success in learning English is about consistent effort, not perfection. The more you speak, the faster you improve. So make your daily moments count. Turn your routine into a language learning opportunity and watch your English speaking skills flourish step by step. Learning to speak English fluently is a journey that requires practice, courage, and creativity. One of the biggest challenges many learners face is finding someone to practice speaking with. Sometimes your friends, family, or colleagues may not speak English, or they might be too busy to engage in regular conversations. But don't let this stop you from practicing. One of the most effective and underrated methods to improve your speaking skills is to talk to yourself in English. Yes, it might feel strange or even a little silly at first, but this simple habit can dramatically boost your confidence and help you speak English more naturally. Talking to yourself means using English as a tool for thinking out loud, narrating your thoughts, describing what you see, or even practicing conversations you want to have with others. This practice works because it forces you to use English actively rather than just passively reading or listening. When you speak, you engage your brain in a different way, strengthening your ability to form sentences, recall vocabulary, and build fluency. One practical way to start talking to yourself is by standing in front of a mirror. Look at yourself and speak as if you are having a conversation with someone else. You can talk about your day, your plans, your feelings, or describe what you are doing. For example, you might say, "Today I am going to the supermarket to buy some vegetables," or "I feel happy because the weather is nice." Speaking in front of the mirror helps you see your facial expressions, mouth movements, and body language, all of which are important parts of communication. It also helps you become more comfortable hearing your own voice in English, which can be a big confidence booster. Another powerful tool is recording yourself. Use your phone or any recording device to capture your voice as you speak English. You can start by reading simple texts aloud, then move on to talking about your daily activities or telling a short story. After recording, listen carefully to your pronunciation, intonation, and grammar. This feedback loop allows you to identify areas for improvement and track your progress over time. You'll be surprised how much you can learn by simply listening to yourself. Describing your surroundings is a natural and easy way to keep talking in English. Look around the room and say what you see. "There is a cat under the chair." "The sky is blue," or "My phone is on the table." This activity trains your vocabulary and helps you connect English words with real objects and experiences. It also makes your speech more spontaneous because you are describing what is happening right now. At first, talking to yourself might feel awkward, and that's completely normal. Many people hesitate to practice speaking alone because they worry about sounding strange or making mistakes. However, remember that this is a private practice. You are not being judged, and mistakes are part of the learning process. Embrace these moments as opportunities to improve. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel, and soon you'll find yourself speaking English with greater ease and confidence. In addition to daily narration and mirror talk, you can simulate conversations with yourself. Imagine you are talking to a friend, a colleague, or a teacher. Ask questions and answer them. For example, you might say, "How was your weekend?" And then answer, "It was great. I went hiking and enjoyed the fresh air." This method helps you prepare for real-life conversations and improves your ability to think quickly in English. Talking to yourself also allows you to experiment with different sentence structures and vocabulary without the pressure of a real audience. You can try out new words or phrases you recently learned and repeat them until they feel natural. This kind of practice builds your internal language bank and makes it easier to recall the right words when you speak with others. If you want to take it a step further, combine your self-talk practice with other learning tools. For instance, watch an English video or listen to a podcast, then pause and try to summarize what you heard out loud. This technique helps improve your listening comprehension and speaking at the same time. You can also write down a short dialogue or a list of questions and answers, then practice saying them aloud. Consistency is key to success. Set aside a few minutes every day to talk to yourself in English. It could be in the morning while getting ready, during your lunch break, or before going to bed. The important thing is to make it a daily habit. Over time, these moments will add up and make a significant difference in your speaking skills. Remember, no one starts speaking a new language perfectly. Even native speakers make mistakes sometimes. The goal is to communicate effectively, not perfectly. Talking to yourself is a safe space to practice, learn from errors, and build your confidence step by step. As your confidence grows, you'll feel more comfortable speaking English with others, and your conversations will become more fluent and natural. In conclusion, don't let the lack of a speaking partner stop you from practicing English. Talking to yourself may seem unusual at first, but it's one of the fastest and most accessible ways to improve your speaking skills. Stand in front of a mirror, record your voice, describe your environment, simulate conversations, and make self-talk a daily habit. By doing so, you will overcome shyness, reduce fear of mistakes, and develop a strong foundation for confident English communication. Start today. Be patient with yourself and enjoy the journey of learning through speaking alone. In the process of learning English, not only knowledge and skills matter, but also your psychological and emotional mindset plays a decisive role in your success. Words are not just tools for communication. They are the key that unlocks your thoughts and feelings. Positive affirmations not only help you maintain motivation, but also build a confident and optimistic mindset. Two essential factors when learning a foreign language. Repeating positive statements every day is one of the most powerful techniques to create positive changes in your thinking and attitude toward learning English. When you frequently say phrases like, "I'm improving," "English is getting easier," or "I believe in myself," you are programming your brain to trust your learning abilities and progress. Why is repeating positive statements so effective? Because our brains are very sensitive to repeated messages. When you hear or say a phrase many times, especially when you genuinely feel it, your brain accepts and processes it as part of reality, gradually turning it into an inner belief. This is the foundation of psychological techniques such as positive affirmations, widely used in self-development, therapy, and even sports performance enhancement. Learning English is a long journey, and you may sometimes feel frustrated, tired, or doubtful about your abilities. During these moments, positive statements act like a medicine to help you regain spirit, focus on your goals, and keep trying. For example, when you say, "I'm improving every day," you remind yourself that even if progress is slow or imperfect, you are still moving forward. This helps you sustain motivation and avoid giving up. Moreover, the phrase, "English is getting easier," creates a sense of ease and reduces the pressure of learning. Instead of viewing English as something too difficult, you begin to notice that each day you understand and speak more. When you believe English is becoming easier, your mind becomes less stressed and anxious, helping you learn more effectively. The phrase "I believe in myself" is a declaration of self-confidence, creating strength and courage for you to step out of your comfort zone and try new things, even if you might make mistakes. Confidence is the key factor that helps you communicate in English naturally and fluently. When you trust your ability, you worry less about errors and enjoy the learning process more. How to apply the technique of repeating positive statements effectively? First, choose positive phrases that suit and resonate with you. Don't just memorize phrases mechanically, but find those you genuinely feel connected to and want to make true in your life. You can start each morning by standing in front of a mirror and loudly saying positive phrases like, "I'm improving," "English is getting easier," "I believe in myself," or even add phrases like, "I'm confident speaking English," or "Every day I speak English better." This practice not only energizes your morning, but also sets a positive psychological foundation for the whole day. You can also write these positive sentences on paper or save them as notes on your phone to read whenever you feel discouraged or want to give up. Seeing motivational phrases reminds you that progress is real, and learning English is entirely within your reach. Additionally, try recording your voice when saying these positive affirmations and listen to them daily. Hearing them repeatedly helps your brain absorb the messages more deeply, rewiring negative thoughts into positive ones. This technique is especially useful for those who easily lose confidence or frequently feel anxious when learning English. You can combine repeating positive affirmations with other English learning activities. For example, when learning new vocabulary, say, "I'm expanding my vocabulary," or when practicing listening, say, "I understand more every day." This not only boosts motivation, but also increases your focus and concentration during study. A key point to remember is persistence and consistency. Repeating positive statements is not a magic that works instantly, but a long-term process that gradually changes your inner thoughts and emotions. Keep this habit daily, even if just for a few minutes, and you will see clear changes in how you feel about learning English and how you speak. Another great benefit of saying positive phrases every day is that it helps you develop optimism and greater resilience in learning and life. When facing difficulties, instead of giving up, you will view challenges as opportunities to grow and improve yourself. This will help you not only learn English better, but also become stronger in all aspects of life. In conclusion, repeating positive statements daily is one of the simplest yet most effective secrets to improve English skills and develop a positive mindset. Phrases like, "I'm improving," "English is getting easier," "I believe in myself" are not just affirmations, but tools that transform your mind and emotions, helping you become more confident, patient, and ultimately conquer English sustainably. Start today. Spend a few minutes speaking these positive phrases to yourself, and you will realize that every day you are closer to the goal of speaking English naturally, fluently, and confidently. Learning English isn't difficult if you know how to start in the right way. One important tip is Don't be afraid to stand in front of a mirror and talk to yourself in English every day, even if it's just simple sentences. This helps you get used to the language, practice pronunciation, and build confidence in communication. Don't fear making mistakes because mistakes are stepping stones to faster improvement. Everyone goes through this phase. You don't need to spend a lot of money on tutors or expensive courses because learning English at home is completely possible if you have perseverance and make daily efforts. Just spend a few minutes practicing speaking, imitate common sentence patterns, and most importantly, dare to speak and try. You'll find English becoming more familiar and easier over time. If you find these tips helpful, don't forget to like and share the video so more people can benefit. Please subscribe to Kunzy Podcast English and turn on notifications to get more useful and inspiring English lessons every day. Thank you for joining Kunzy Podcast English on your journey to mastering English.